Hello, YouTube. This is going to be a disclaimer. We're going to be talking about a serious topic, multiple topics. But the disclaimer is this. We're going to be talking about suicidal thoughts, depression, isolation, self-doubt, and bullying. This is the story of how God and Stoicism basically saved me from myself. So sit down, get your tissues, and let's have a chat. Yeah, I got lo-fi playing in the background. So my name is Bashful One. I have a background of a disability and executive dysfunction. I have cerebral palsy. I'll go into that like in another video. So my brain works differently than a normal brain, you know? I think differently than others and view things differently as well. I love being creative and artistic, but I also have trouble being myself. I grew up doing what others told me to do. I followed my parents' footsteps and tried impressing my peers. I'm just now healing and learning to be myself unapologetically. And I'm just now learning that being myself is okay. Just now accepting that being myself is okay. When I was in middle school and high school, I got bullied for no reason. Got to a point where I had to basically defend myself, as you should when you're getting bullied, right? That wasn't fun. But I went through the years of being in remedial classes from like elementary all the way to high school graduation, and being shy and quiet, not speaking up for myself, things like that. But let's move on to the next topic. That's the introduction. I want to talk about self-doubt and depression. So I was forced to go to college by my dad by the time I graduated. When I graduated high school, and when I was a junior in high school, I knew college wasn't for me. I wasn't ready. But my father wanted me to go. You know, typical, you need to go to college to get a job stuff, you know, the usual. But I didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew since junior year of high school, I didn't have a career path. I kind of was just winging it. I was just going to school, acing my tests as best as I could, you know? But I didn't know what I wanted to do after the fact. I was kind of stuck. I wanted to go to Full Sail University. I'm glad I didn't after learning about their lawsuits. But I was pressured to go to my local community college because I was afraid to disappoint my dad. So I went to school and failed all my classes. Not on purpose. I just hated school, and it was hard for me to focus, you know? And people who've been in like special ed classes will probably know when you go from being in special ed classes for 12 years of your life to jumping straight into college, that's a huge leap. So that also was a little bit of a struggle. Being in college, I felt alone because it was harder to make friends. And I had pressure from my parents to graduate when I never wanted to be there in the first place. So I was feeling alone due to my lack of social skills because I was around like the same 8 to 9 kids all 12 years of my grades, K through 12. And being in college, when you're in college, man, like you don't stay with the same people for the most part. So it's hard to like socialize a little bit. felt alone due to lack of social skills on top of family pressure. I think lack of social skills and family pressure is a terrible mix. I started getting depressed as I was failing to I was failing my test like back to back to back. And I kept isolating myself because I kept failing and I kept feeling like a failure as time went on. It got so bad that I created 2 imaginary friends in my head because I couldn't make real friends going to school. And my parents were pressuring me. And I needed some encouragement. And I'm like, okay, I can't afford therapy. Parents are pressuring me to finish school. I don't have anyone I can vent to. Let me just vent to these entities in my head, right? I didn't believe in myself since the beginning, and I was afraid I'd fail life, like overall. I was afraid I'd be homeless. I wouldn't be able to make the money I wanted to make, things like that. This cycle went on for 3.5 years. I was only getting an associate's. I was working at the time. I was going to school part-time and working full-time, but I was only getting an associate's, and that takes 2 years. But because of my failures and lack of drive, because I didn't want to go to school, and, my self-doubt and lack of confidence and things like that, I ended up being there for almost like 4 years. So 19 comes around, I turn 19, and I'm laying in bed, crying my eyes out due to all the pressure I was feeling. My parents were comparing me to my peers. As my peers were like graduating, my peers would graduate a year before me, 2 years before me, and they'd be like, oh, so-and-so graduated. Why are you still going? You should be able to. You shouldn't be doing this. You should be going to, you see people younger than you start succeeding, and now the pressure's on, right? That was basically what was going on. But yeah, I was being compared to like my friends from high school, family members who were younger than me, my own cousin who was like a brother. I remember clearly it was being like, your cousin's gonna be going to college soon and you're still stuck here, stuff like that. But yeah, I was feeling the pressure. My parents were comparing me a little bit. And I remember this night clearly. It was 3 a.m. Everyone was asleep but me. And I was sitting at the edge of my bed. It was the spring, going into the summer. I was getting ready to take summer classes because I had to catch up because I was failing so much. So I had to take summer classes. And I was sitting at the edge of my bed and I was contemplating driving to the Ben Franklin Bridge in Philadelphia and jumping off the bridge. At 19 years old, I'm 28 now, but at 19, I was thinking of doing so. Either that or grabbing my father's gun and pulling the trigger. I didn't feel loved by my parents. I didn't feel accepted because I kept failing, so they wouldn't miss me if I died. That was the mental process. That's what I was thinking. It's like I keep failing. They only seem to love me when I'm passing my classes. So me keep failing. They don't love me. I might as well get out of here. I'm suffering. I'm not passing. I feel like a failure. I need to go, So when I'm sitting at the edge of the bed, right when I'm thinking about getting up to go to the safe, something told me, just hold on a little bit more. just a little bit more. Keep going, hold on, just hold on a little longer. I assumed that was God. I didn't know at the time, but I assumed it was God. It was just something in me said, I know you're hurting, but hold out a little bit more. And that leads me to God and Stoicism, right? Here we go, the main event. Fast forward, and I somehow made it to the final semester for my college career. After 3.5 years, I finally make it to my last semester in college, community college at that. And I meet this girl who I'm still friends with today after 6 long years. Shout out to her. And I remember I prayed to finish school and make one friend, even if the friend wasn't like all the way there mentally, or if they weren't perfect. I just wanted a friend, someone that could encourage me. I can encourage them. We could talk. And that's when this girl introduced herself to me, and we became friends just by talking after class. We were in math. It was a math class. Could you imagine? Last semester at college and you got to take math? But it was a math class, and I didn't talk to her. I kept coming in late to the class because I was working full time, and I worked like 30 to 45 minutes away. So imagine your class starts at 5:30 and you have to finish work at 5. That leaves you like a 30-minute drive. So sometimes I get to class 15 minutes late, 30 minutes. But when I got there on time, I got there on time, you know? Anyway, we met. I remember clearly how it went. I was doing my thing like normal. Come to class after a long day's work, take notes, ask questions barely because I was shy. And when class ended, I'd either wait for everybody to leave first, or I'd be the first out the door. I didn't want to socialize or anything. And I remember walking down the steps like normal, and she stopped me. She introduced herself, and I was like, oh, hey. And then we just started talking, and it just became a routine for us, you know? Anyway, sorry for that tangent. Just want to give you the lore. So, last semester, made a new friend, and I ended up graduating, but I was still suffering from insecurity and envy. You know, I still doubted myself and had suicidal thoughts, but not as frequent like when I was in school. I was out of school, so I was happy, but I still hated myself for some reason. I was still comparing myself to other people. And I asked God for like a positive influence. I was like, hey, I just need a positive influence. I need something to make me feel better. I need a guide, you know? And that's when I stumbled across the Daily Stoic. And I binged all his content, man, like everything. And my favorite philosopher, I believe there's 3. There's like, I call it the trio of Stoicism. I think that's Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca. Marcus Aurelius is my favorite one. I read Meditations to this day. I was actually reading it earlier. And through reading Meditations and learning from the Stoics, I kind of learned to accept fate in this life of mine and embrace who I am as a person. You know, whatever happens is going to happen. Failure is going to come. All I can do is respond to it. And there's nothing for me to worry about, because most of the things I worry about isn't even going to happen. That's actually proven itself true this week. It's funny enough. A little tangent, my bad. This year I was trying to make a new friend, or rather this year I want to make a lot of friends. And there was one person that stood out to me, and I was like, yo, I want them to be my friend, like badly. I think we'd be cool. And I remember being vocal about it and telling them, like, hey, like, if fate allows it, I want us to be really good friends this year. And we texted here a little bit. They were doing dry text. And I remember my brain was like, hey, they're texting you. It's like one sentence. It's like one word, 2 words. You might be pushing them away. It was my insecurities. It was like, you might be pushing them away. Stop being desperate. And I was like, am I being desperate? I don't know. But I remember that quote basically being like, hey, 85% of your worries aren't going to really happen for real. Like, it's not that big of a deal. You're fine. And that seemed to be true, because they messaged me and they were like, you know, talking normally. And I saw a post of theirs basically saying, I saw a post of theirs that basically said that they low-key don't like the way that they text because it comes off like they hate people or whatever. So that was me. That was my brain confirming that what I was believing was wrong. It was proving me wrong, which was nice. That was great. I liked that. Anyway, sorry for rambling. Let's move on, shall we? So I learned from Marcus Aurelius and Seneca and Epictetus and the Daily Stoic, and I'm praying, and I'm starting to heal, you know? I'm starting to heal, and my pain and my suffering is dwindling, you know? My pain and suffering came from me hating myself. It came from me running away from who I am, not trusting who I am, not being confident in who I am. Or rather, me not understanding myself. But God introduced me to Stoicism, and Stoicism's helped me accept life. And me accepting life helped me accept myself. So that's great. I currently live a life where I know who I am, and I'm not afraid to be myself. Ooh, my eyes. I'm not afraid to be myself. And, sorry, I lost my train of thought. Okay, yeah, I'm living a life now where, like, I know who I am. I'm not afraid to be myself. If I want to be your friend, I'm going to tell you that. If I love you, I'm going to tell you that. If something bothers me, I'm going to tell you. If I want to text you fast, I will. If I'm uncomfortable, I'll tell you. I don't hide my light anymore, you know? I don't mask myself anymore. I don't put on a facade anymore. If I want to double text you, I'm going to double text you. If I respond in a millisecond, I'll respond in a millisecond. If I want to talk to you, I'm going to talk to you. I don't want to put on a facade. I don't want to be like, oh, let me not show that I'm desperate. Let me wait an hour to respond. It's like, no, if I want to talk to you, I'm going to talk to you. I'm just really deep in authenticity right now. I've been afraid to shine for so long, for like over 10 years of my life, and afraid to show my true self, that it's hindered me, you know? And now I'm taking that step to shine as bright as I possibly can. There's so much in this world that this world's done to me, but I'm happy that I've learned to love myself as I do. I hope this helps someone in some way. I was uncomfortable making this because this was the most vulnerable I've ever been in public. I just want to encourage people this year, you know, like, if you're going through a rough time, there is a way out. That's my message. If you're going through a rough time, if you're living with people who you feel hate you, if you feel pressured, if anything, there's a way out. And it's different for everybody. For me, it was God and Stoicism. For you, it might be a hobby. I don't know. It could be a philosophy, it could be religion, it could be a family friend, it could be a mentor, it could be anything. It could be a game, it could be a community. You might go on Discord and meet friends and get out of your rut. It could be anything, man. But for me, it was Stoicism and God. So that's all. I hope this helps somebody. If you can relate, that's great. If you don't, thank you for listening to my story anyway. And let's have a good 2026, man. Anyway, I just wanted to share this, get this off my chest, so that I can create fun, good content. And go all in, man. Anyway, thanks for listening. Peace out.